Frank Giavello with the Contending. Writer-director Laura Piani's truly engaging first feature, Jane Austen Wrecked My Life, stars the beguiling Camille Rutherford. I am so pleased to be speaking with them both today. Welcome, Laura and Camille.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Likewise. So I adore this film. I'm a writer. I've been to residencies. Laura, you wrote this at a Jane Austen residency, right? Can you speak a little bit about where the idea came from and how the writing process worked for you?
Yes. So the idea came from my experience as a bookseller at the bookshop Shakespeare and Company in Paris. I first started there, thinking about the people I was working with for so many years who were like me, aspiring writers, aspiring actors or musicians. And they were like, we were all working at night shifts there, from 4 to 11.
Hmm.
And even when we started like, to actually pay our rents by doing other stuff, we kept coming to the bookshop to work there because we felt this like very weird and touching common feeling of being misplaced. We
Yeah.
felt that we didn't fit. We felt that we didn't recognize ourselves in the world we were living in. And this bookshop offered us a refuge somehow. So that's the starting point of the film. And then while I was writing the portrait of this woman, Agathe, her desire to write, her desire to fall in love, and all the impossibilities that she is dealing with, I thought about who could be, in terms of writers, who could be the most heavy and important writer that she has to carry, the weight somehow. And Jane Austen was obvious. So I went to England a lot to research about Jane Austen life as much as about her books. And the film that you see now is a mix of, Jane Austen's life, some elements of her books, and the story of Agathe, who is a 2025 young woman dealing with a lot of insecurities and imposter syndrome.
I love it because if you're a Jane Austen fan, you can see so many of the parallels in her characters and her novels. And if you're not a fan, you could still enjoy the film for all of its values.
Thank you. It's great. That's what we wanted to do, actually.
Uh,
Exactly.
and so Camille is such a wonderfully nuanced performance. Tell me
Thank
about
you.
how you became involved in the project.
Um, it was a very traditional. I got this very traditional way to start a project. My agent sent me the script, and I loved it. I thought it was funny and quirky, and it was and I also like the melancholy. It was not just funny. There was a lot of depth to it and sadness, and I was very drawn to the poem at the end of the film. That last scene with Frederick Wiseman reading that poem is beautiful. And I remember thinking, wow, that says it all. This poem could be the only reason why I would say yes to it. And anyway, so I told my agent, yes, I want to try it. And I was very lucky because Laura, we met, we had a drink with Laura in Paris a few days after I read the script, and she didn't want me to audition. So I was very lucky because I thought, well, we're maybe gonna have a drink and then we'll do a casting, like it's often the case. But no, we had a drink and then Laura said, "Okay, the role is for you," and that's how we started. That's how we started working on Agathe.
I love it. And I love Agathe because she's her own person. Someone who doesn't necessarily fit in, but she doesn't necessarily want to either.
Yeah. True. Yeah. True. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, she doesn't necessarily want to. Yeah.
She has dreams. I think I'm always drawn to characters when I feel that they have dreams.
Yeah.
They want things. It's not only like, reaching a very concrete goal that you need to have in dramaturgy, of course, because the story needs the dramaturgy. But she has a real dream, and it's not only love. It's she wants to write. She wants to be able to explore something, to express her voice, and I think that's what that's how characters are interesting when they have like bigger dreams than what they are somehow.
Well, yes, and in your writing, you do that genre balance really well. You mentioned in your director's statement that you love your love for cinema came from Billy Wilder and Ernst Lubitsch,
Yes,
and I think Wilder's the master. And they said that Wilder had a plaque in his office that said, "How would Lubitsch do it?"
yes,
Uh, I wanted you to speak a little bit about these filmmakers' influences on your work.
yes. Um, I think I have another quote in mind of Billy Wilder about Lubitsch. That was, I think I wrote it in my statement what a long time ago because it was resonating so much. He said that Lubitsch did so much with closed doors, much more than most of the directors with open pants, you know?
That's a
Yeah.
great.
And I believe in that so much, especially about when you film love and men and women falling in love. And Billy Wilder, for me, he had this delicacy, and Lubitsch, of course, too. The way they deal with deep feelings in a very with so much pudor, you know,
Yeah.
and elegance. And the how do you say in English? Hors champ, what you don't see in the
Ah,
screen is as much important as what you see, and what the characters don't say is as much important as what they're actually saying. And I tried to play with that when I was writing the script. And I also remember something that is in Jane Austen's book. It took me years to remember that. Is that she has a way of writing dialogues where characters, when they are emotional, they interrupt themselves in the middle of a sentence. They
oh,
can't go on. And I remember feeling that it was so true and so simple. In life also, when we are dealing with important things, it's rare to finish a sentence. So where do your character interrupt himself? What words is the last word? So these things were very inspiring me for the film. Yeah.
I love that. Did you have any trouble getting financing for the film?
Oh, many trouble. The film is a miracle. It's a very limited budget film. Because we with the producer we wanted to do a totally independent film, art house. I wanted to work with the actors that I was really like dreaming of, and not being imposed some big names. So it comes with freedom and a little money somehow. And also it was not easy to convince people to do a rom-com like this one, because they don't really exist anymore, these art house rom-coms.
Yeah.
We lost them between the 90s and now. Somehow they became products for the platforms, and very glossy, very flat, rich people dealing with like rich people problems. And I was so nostalgic, and I was missing this film as a viewer. So I did this film for myself and for the people I loved, for myself as a viewer. I mean, not for myself, completely myself, because it would be weird. Yeah.
Camille, great chemistry with both Pablo and Charlie. I mean, amazing.
Yeah.
Did you guys have a rehearsal process, and what was that like?
Oh yeah, I think that's why it worked. It's because we've been rehearsing. We rehearsed a lot with Flora, the four of us, Flora, Pablo, Charlie, and I, and we had enough time to um, not be shy anymore. Because
Mm,
when you play romantic scenes, it's when you meet the person you're going to play with, it's always a bit intimidating. It's because you have to play the feeling of falling in love and everything, and it's always a bit strange at first. And we had time to become friends, and we could look at each other in the eyes and not be shy anymore. And there was no taboo anymore. We really had time to rehearse, be bad, play it badly, work on it again so that it would work, and we became friends. And what's funny is that my relationship to Pablo and Charlie in real life is really like in the movie. Pablo is my age. We come from the same neighborhood in Paris. We have a lot of friends in common, and we like to joke around. So it was really easy. It felt very natural. And Charlie is a lovely person, but he's more shy and discreet, reserved,
Yeah.
and that worked. And so our relationship was like that too. We wouldn't go, "Hey, what's up today?" compared to Pablo, and that helped us for the. And I'm sure actually it was also without telling each other, unconsciously our relationship was like that, subtle and polite to make it work on screen.
Well, it
Yeah.
works magnificently. It really does.
Oh, glad to hear it.
Camille, can you speak a little bit about your process? Are you an actor who, when Laura says cut, you can just turn off Agathe, or do you keep her with you?
Um, I try and be as pragmatic as possible, um, and like think, okay, the most important are the words, the dialogues, and rehearsing, nothing more. But then there's also my little secret things that I write on my script that belong to me to help me. But yes, yes, when someone says cut, I come out, but I want to do it straight away. I want to do it again. I want to do it again, and I think about everything I haven't done that I could do better. It's just work. It's really work. There's not a lot of fantasy. C'est pas yeah, it's work. It's really work and improving, try and make the scene better. So
Nice.
I'm not. I get when I come out, I just want to do it again because when you're acting, there's this thing where sometimes people want to say, "Oh, you can never really forget about yourself when you're acting."
Mm,
Uh, it's good to try and not to forget about yourself, so you're not judging yourself, but you're always still there. And while you're acting, you can think, I think we can do it again for that thing, and it wasn't good, and there's not enough rhythm. But then the most important is the director, because we're nothing without the director. So it's we work together with a team, and sometimes we think we've done the scene badly, but then the director and the other crew is like, no, it was good. Sorry, it sounds very basic. I'm saying very, very basic things about
no, no, it's actually
acting
fascinating.
process, but yeah. I think the most important is work and doing it again and improving. Yeah.
And Laura, how are you with takes? Are you like David Fincher 50 takes or Clint Eastwood one take?
Oh, I wish I could be like David Fincher, 50 takes, but we were not in this kind of like shooting. We had very little time. Uh, I think what was the most important for me was to have this rehearsing time, to work like more like theater
Mm,
than like cinema, to be around the table with the actors, to read the script, to find the better lines with them, to try on, to let them be silly, to build the trust also between each other and with me.
yeah.
So we could arrive on the set and every scene would be very clear for all of us. So we could have, the luxury of welcome what was not expected because we were so clear before. And what I love about actors is that they teach you how to direct them. You have to adapt to each of them. I could feel it's a first film, so I don't have so much experience, but I could see between Camille, Charlie, and Pablo who were the ones who needed more informations, more explanations, more direction, and sometimes they change also and they have different needs when it's a certain type of scene or when it's in another, but sometimes also they need to be very free, super focused, and very lightly directed. Because if you give them too many informations, you can block them
Mm,
also, And so I really love that dance, which is a dance. And sometimes it's a very human and very rich experience to direct actors, actually, because you create characters in your mind, you write, you know a lot about the characters, and then you have to create with actors another character, not the one that was in your mind, not the one that is in the script, but a character that will be a mix, an encounter between the actors and your imagination. And this is a fascinating process, I find.
Oh, that collaboration, it's so rich. Absolutely. I, you know, Agathe says in the film that she thinks she was born in the wrong century. And I love that line. I think it's so relatable. I often say I was born in the wrong decade.
Yes. What decade would you have liked to?
I would have loved to have grown up in this. I grew up in the 80s. I would have loved to have grown up in the 70s or the 60s.
Me too.
Uh,
Same here.
So you also do this lovely balance between the comedic and the romantic, and there's that aspect of Agathe um, that's tragic.
Yeah,
And we don't dwell there, but it's a part of her character throughout the entire film.
yeah, yeah. That was very important for me to try to work with this like melancholy.
Yeah.
Um, I was grieving when I was writing the script, actually. That was not expected.
Oh,
And I was in a situation where I was like, I really want to do that comedy, that rom-com, but I'm also dealing with these questions and I need to write about it somehow. So I wanted to address, this question of heritage and how do you live with absence somehow, and how you're not, how you continue without people and while they're still there, and sometimes they can be very very present even when they're not there anymore, and sometimes it's funny and sometimes it's tragic. So I wanted to work on this character that is grieving, but somehow you cannot write truly if you're not dealing with what's happening inside of you.
yeah.
It's just doesn't work actually. And it's the same with love. You cannot pretend that you are in love if you don't listen to what you really feel. So yeah, all these questions were mixed. And I think life is like this anyway. In general, we can be in a very funny situation and end up in tears 2 minutes later, or the opposite. I had crazy laugh during funerals, for example, because something was going wrong. So I think a comedy comes from comedy comes from tragedy. It's the main source of comedy is tragedy. So
Well,
yeah.
you honestly, you sound like Wilder. You really do. Camille, I wanted to ask you about in terms of preparing uh, and being a Jane Austen fan in the film. Did you find yourself reading a lot of her work, watching a lot of the films that were made?
I didn't want to watch movies again. Try not copy them too much, but I try to be the little Camille that I was as a teenager, because I discovered Jane Austen with my own sister, and we would watch again and again Sense and Sensibility, the Ang Lee movie written
Yeah.
by Emma Thompson, who plays in it. She plays one of the two sisters, and I remember we watched it over and over again, and we would make fun of the bulls and the way they talked, because it was a very old-fashioned vocabulary. Have you made the acquaintance of Sir Colin, most agreeable gentleman? All these the ways they talked, and the ball and the puff sleeves and everything, and the cup of tea, and we would make fun out of them because we thought it was a bit too polite and not trashy enough. And it's also the Dashwood sisters; they also make fun of it themselves. So I think I try to just remember the little Camille that I was to help me, and I reread Sense and Sensibility. That's it. And we rehearsed a lot, so I didn't have time to read something else. I would have liked to read more. I read a little tiny bit of Persuasion, but I didn't have time to do more because the rehearsing was intense, and I was also finishing other jobs as an actress, and so I couldn't.
And I didn't ask them to read too much of Jane Austen, to be honest, also because I didn't want it to be a Jane Austen adaptation.
Yeah.
You know, they were like characters of like 2025 dealing with their life. But what interests me was to, in the writing process, in the scenes, play with what Jane Austen books, but also Jane Austen's life, the way she slept with her sister, for example, shared this room with her sister until she died. That inspired me, the sister character. You know what I mean? But it was more like the hidden place of the script. I wanted the actors to actually be a bit free. Charlie and Pablo didn't have to reread Jane Austen either. It was not the more important thing, I think.
Yeah, and the only I felt it was paying homage a little bit to Emma Thompson and Hugh Grant in
Yeah.
Sense and Sensibility, but only in brief snippets. That's one of the things, again, I really enjoyed about the film because I felt it was your original vision, and occasionally there was an homage here and there.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Laura, can you speak a little bit about, I was fascinated by your choosing the widescreen scope ratio
Yeah.
and why you decided to do that.
So it was a conversation that I had with my DOP because I wanted to film this woman in a world of books, lost in books, in literature, and then the whole journey is to send her to the perfect place to write her books, but she would be lost too, right? Because that's not about where we work or where we write. The problem is an internal conflict, of course. So I was thinking about the format, and I love scope, the wild thing.
Yeah.
It used to be a Western format, right? And I thought it would be very interesting to have this format, to film her this way, so you could feel that she's lost in the surrounding. It's like a Western somehow, the bookshop, you know, and the opening scene when she dances among books. I really wanted to see like an ocean of books. Or when she, you know, walked in the woods, she has this like weird way to walk around, but she is lost in any kind of landscapes until she finds her voice. So I really like when cinema and technique is not there to look pretty or smart, but it's really serving the character's journey. You know, it's really organic. It's not like just I don't like directors who are, you know, playing with techniques like video games, you know, like I think it has to serve the emotion of the character. So the viewer, the audience has understand that deeply, experience it deeply.
You guys have played a lot of festivals, and I'm curious about audience response. Like, for instance, what has been the difference between a Parisian audience response or a New York or Toronto responding to the film?
So we premiered in Toronto. I was so scared. You know, the first screening of a film is like a very important moment. And I was so happy that it was in Toronto because it was an Anglophone country. And because my film is a weird thing, you know, these two languages, you never know when you work on that, if it will work or not. And the audience was the Toronto. I love this festival because it's a festival made for audience. Cinemas are full, you know. I guess for the industry it's not so easy to go, but it's made for people to go and see movies. That's what I like. So the cinema was full and it was so warm, so warm. I got hugged. Camille was shooting in at this time. She couldn't come. I'm so sorry for that. But what I can say is that I've been hugged by so many people because this is when you do an optimistic film, I think a rom-com. Of course, I'm sure some people don't like it, but the one that speak to you and come to see you, usually they are the one that liked it. And I was surprised to see how many, you know, young men, young women, old men, old women, like it somehow the audience was very large and to answer your question, I went to Greece, for example, and the first question from the audience was a question about the time, chronos in Greek, you know, and of course I was like, of course I'm in Greece. Of course we talk about the concept of time in movies. And then I went to Rome, and it was a totally different question. Of course, the reactions are not the same, but I would say that what I love the most is not only the question, is the statement. Sometimes just, you know, people just talk about themselves after the film.
Yeah.
And Camille and I, we shared a very strong experience in France, in Lille. Do you remember? A woman started to speak, and she started to cry, and she didn't stop. And she was not like a drama queen. she started to cry, and she says, the poetry thing, I need it so much. It will help me so much to go through life, you know, the poems that are in the film and it. So we started to cry too, of course, because she was crying. So well, we have this kind of interaction. They are very precious. They are very beautiful.
That's wonderful. Camille, I have to ask you about Anatomy of a Fall because it's one of my favorite films of the last
Ah,
10
great.
years. Yes, and you have such a significant role in it. Looking back, I mean, did you ever imagine such a worldwide acclaim the film would get? That was a really bad
Anatomy
sentence.
of
I
a Fall.
apologize.
I know. I knew. Well, I only had 4 days of filming on it because I have 2 scenes. But I remember thinking when I read the script and when I was doing it, wow, this is gonna be a very good film. Justine Triet is she's a genius. And Sandra Hüller is a Rolls Royce, the main actress, the lead, Sandra Hüller. I loved working with her, and so I thought, "Ooh, this is gonna be." I knew when we did the interview scene, we had 2 days to film it. I thought, "Oh, this is gonna be a very good film," but I didn't. No one could imagine that it was gonna work like that. Not especially Justine Triet and Arthur Harari. He wrote the script with her. They didn't. They thought it was gonna be a small French film that wouldn't, because it's a long film. There's with a lot of dialogues, and it's not a genre. They're not taking the audience for silly people. I mean, yeah, yeah. No one could imagine what it was. Yeah, it was gonna. But it's great.
Yeah, it just goes to show you good filmmaking is good filmmaking.
Yes.
So my final question to both of you, I'd love to know what you're working on next, what's percolating, what might be coming up.
Uh, Okay, I have a few projects that are gonna come out. I was in the first feature last August. I filmed the first movie of Marianne Métivier. She's a Canadian film director. We've shot it in Montreal and in the surroundings, and it's a very good script about 3 different women, and a bit like in the hours. You remember that movie? They don't
Yes.
their stories. You see them one after the other, and you understand that their stories actually it's are
Interconnect.
connected. And and it's a bit. The film reminds me of Kelly Richards movies. Movies about women struggling with different life, but very strong characters, and it was great. And so that should be coming out this year. And then I did a show for television with Bruno Merle, a French director. I did a movie with called Felicita, and I have a small role in a movie that is in Cannes next week, called Nino, written and directed by Pauline Loques, first feature as well, with a very good actor, main lead called Théodore Pellerin. Very good actor. You'll see him a lot, I think, in the coming years.
Yes, I've
And
already seen him in quite a number of things. He's amazing.
Théodore Pellerin, he's a very
Yeah.
good actor. I play his ex-girlfriend in a few scenes. That was nice, and we look alike a lot. It's fun. Two tall, skinny people, and then I have two movies I will be filming with secondary parts, and it starts in July.
Wow, well, there's a lot we can enjoy you in. That's wonderful.
Yes,
Uh,
I'm lucky for that.
And
Good year.
theater.
And I yes.
And she played the Three Sisters adaptation in theater.
Yes.
oh.
Ask me if you need information about them.
And I just saw you in Three Musketeers, Milady.
Oh,
You
yeah,
have
you
the
saw me in
sister.
that. Yeah, the second
Yes,
one. Yeah.
the second part. Yeah.
Yeah.
Laura, what's happening?
So I'm writing the next film, same producer, a rom-com also,
Ah,
probably set between France and Italy this time. Piemonte, I'm dreaming about shooting in Piemonte, in the north of Italy.
nice.
And as a scriptwriter, I wrote and created 2 shows. So I'm writing them also. So I am in the middle of, like, writing and touring with the film and trying to, meet as much audience as possible, because that's so the privilege of doing films is to actually, that's why we make cinemas, no? That we want to experience human interactions with audience after. So that's what I'm doing right now.
Well, that's wonderful. I thank you so much, both of you. Incredible creative artists. Thank you for this film, and I wish you the best of luck with it.
Thank you for
Thank
your
you very
questions.
much. Thank you.